All right, in this lesson, we are going to learn the basics of moving our sprite. So, we know that this is our sprite, we have our backdrop, and we have our start button. Let's take a look at motion. So, we're going to click on motion, and these blue buttons are all of our motion buttons. So let's talk about what a graph is and how the computer is going to recognize where we want our sprite to move. Hello, hello, hello. This is lesson 2. In this lesson, we are going to learn a little bit about how to move our sprite. So we have our sprite, which is for me, my bat. We have our backdrop. And over here we have our start button. So let's come up here to motion. The great thing about Scratch is all of these different operators are color coordinated. So I know the motion is always going to be a blue one. So I click on my blue one, here's my motion. Now, you know what? I'm actually going to move my bat over here in the top left. It's just easier for me to work left from right. So I want him to move 10 steps. What does that mean? Well, when I say 10 steps, I don't actually mean they're measuring his feet and moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean they are going to move 10 steps as this particular program understands it. So it's like if we said, we want to move an inch, or we want to move a centimeter, or we want to move a foot, or we want to move a mile. Every computer programming language understands distance. So in this particular program, let's see how far our distance is. So I'm going to drag this and look, it automatically pops onto there. Pops on, locks on. Now let's see what happens. So when I click my sprite, the code is going to run and it's going to move 10 steps. Let's see how far that is or isn't. Look at how tiny that is. It's teeny tiny, itsy bitsy little steps. So I know that I definitely want him to move farther than that. So I'm going to pick a much bigger number than 10. I'm going to pick 50. Now I'm going to click on my bat and see how much more he moves. Way more. Okay, so that is our first move block. Let me show you the one that I picked when I first created my story scene. I picked go to random position. So we'll talk about what a position is and how it corresponds to a position on a graph and how the computer reads that in a later lesson. Don't worry about it now. All you need to know is that random position, it's going to choose somewhere random on this screen and it's going to go there. So let's click our bat and see what happens. Wow, he went all the way down there. That's pretty cool, but I don't want him to disappear below the screen. So I am actually going to choose another type of movement. I'm going to choose if on edge, bounce. So that means if my bat hits one of the edges of this screen here, he's going to bounce off it like a ping pong ball. Let's see what that would look like. Bam, bam, bam. So he is just flying all over the place, moving around. And when he hits the edge, he's going to bounce off things. I know you're probably going, hey, hold on. Why did he turn upside down? Well, when he bounced off this, he would have gotten turned around. That is the long and short of it. Okay, so I'm going to undo this so I can just, whoops, I'm going to undo this just so I can pick my bat up. Remember, if you chose your start button as when this sprite is clicked, when you click on him to move him, it's going to run the code. So I just sort of detach this and put it to the side for a bit. Okay, cool. Love that. Now, I wanted to do it a couple of times. And I know that I want him to do it a couple of times. So the first control we're going to use is called repeat. So all you need to know about this is if I grab this and drop it here, he is going to repeat this action 10 times because I have it set to the number 10. So let's see what that would look like. Oh, right. See, I need to put my start button back on. Let's see what that would look like. See how he did it really, 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 really fast? He did it 10 times, but super quick. That's because I don't have a wait control. So if I want him to do that slower, what I'm going to do is grab this block. And the great thing about Scratch is you can drag and drop anywhere. I can put it here, I can put it here, I can put it here, I can put it here. I want it right here. Okay? So my code now reads, go to random position, if on edge bounce, and then wait 1 second. Now I'm going to drop it in here so that the computer knows I want the bat to repeat this 10 times. Let's drop it here and let's start. There he goes. So he's waiting 1 second before he does it the next time, which I think is great. It makes it look a lot slower. I can watch the bat go. It's not like bam, 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 bam. So I like that. I'm going to keep it. Now, the next thing I want to do is, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of this move thing because it's taking up space and I don't need it. So if I want to delete this, I'm just going to pick it up, pull it back over here, and let go. Now, I'm going to come back up to motion, and I am going to have my bat turn a little bit as he's flying. So I'm going to grab this one, and it says turn this way. So this is clockwise. The way you can think about that is turning to the right. This one is counterclockwise, and you can think about it as turning to the left. I want my little guy to turn clockwise, so I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put it right after if on edge bounce. Okay, so we'll play with that, and we'll see what it looks like after the wait and before the wait. But I want him to turn 15 degrees. If you haven't done degrees yet, and oh gosh, I can't remember what I was going to say. If you haven't done degrees yet in math, that might sound a little like, whoa. The best way to think about it is to picture a clock. Big, big circle. And each number you put in will turn him farther around on that clock. So let's look at what 15 degrees would look like. All right, I'm going to click my bat. See how he's moving a teeny tiny little bit like a clock hand every time he moves? And then when he bounces off the edge, he's turning in a totally different direction. He's all over the place. Now let's see if I increase the 15 to 50. Let's see how much the bat turns now. Watch. See, he's turning way, way, way more. So I like that. I'm going to keep him there. Now, let's see what would happen if I put this turn after the wait instead of the before. I'm going to pick it up. And you see, the thing is, when you pick up a block, all the blocks attached to it come too. So I have to take my weight off, put the turn below it, and then I'm going to pick them both back up and attach them to if on edge bounce. All right, now let's see what that looks like. So he waits, and then he kind of turns fast. So it looks like he's doing a little somersault. That's pretty cool, but I think I liked it the other way better. So I'm going to put it back there. I'm going to put the turn up here. Okay, so that was pretty cool. That is the basics of our movement. Now, in the next lesson, we are going to go over glide and point in direction. All right, I will see you in our next lesson.